the conversation came up of men reading Christian fiction. And one of the authors, she was like, men just typically don't read Christian fiction. And of course, we were there as Christian fiction authors. And I was like one of three there. So
one of three men?
One of three men there.
And lots of women
and then there were like 100 women. Yeah. So I was literally in the minority.
Okay.
And they were like, Brent, what can we do to get more men to pick up our books and read them? I said, well, I'll tell you what you can do, but you're probably not going to like my answer. And they're like, no, tell us. I was like, men don't read Christian fiction because all you churn out is romance. I mean, and there are men out there that like romance.
Occasionally, yeah.
I'll pick up a romance and read it because honestly, sometimes that's the only option. Non-romance books and Christian fiction are so far and few between.
Yes.
Welcome to the Bookish Introverts Podcast. Join host Amazon bestselling author Brett Nelson and avid reader Melanie Dyer as they dive in to review books they've read, then chat with the amazing authors behind them. Quiet minds, big bookshelves. You don't want to miss it.
Hey everyone, it's Brett and we are back. And today, not only are we talking about a great book, we have an author on that's going to talk to us about her book. And for the first time on the podcast, not only are we talking about an author, but she's actually in the studio with us. So Rachel Snider is here. We're talking about her book, The Improbable Existence of Life After Divorce. Welcome to the podcast. Tell everyone hi.
Thank you. Hello. I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's good to have you. And I'll tell you, it is so nice to have somebody sitting in the chair. I'm so grateful for technology that allows us to talk to authors across the nation.
Absolutely.
Or even across the world if that ever came up. But I just feel like it's so much better when I have a flesh and blood person sitting right next to me.
Yes.
I always feel like there's a little bit of a digital divide sometimes when you're talking to someone online, especially if you're talking to someone where you have to kind of drag out every response from them. And, so for me, this is much more comforting. So thank you for being willing to come on.
I'm so happy that I could.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the first things I want to talk about is hold up your book again.
Okay.
It's called The Improbable Existence of Life After Divorce. And for the people that are listening, it's sort of, I always like to describe the covers.
Okay.
So it's why don't you tell them about the cover?
So I designed the cover on my own, which was a lot of fun. I got to learn just a lot about graphic design. And there's some different elements that kind of give you clues as to the story. There's kind of this chemistry atom going on here. There's a sprocket, and so it gives a little hint. There's a little bit of a sci-fi hook to the book, not a huge amount. And then this is the main character, Russ. And as you can see, he's a little darker skin than the average Arkansan. He's half Eastern Indian. His outfit is a little mixture of professional, fancy, and casual because he has kind of two lives going on.
He does. Yeah. And we'll get into that. Yeah. So let's talk about, do you always create your own covers?
No. This is really the first one that I've done on my own. I have a friend who is an amazing photographer, Kim Bice. She's local, and she did my covers for my first 4 books, the River series, and she did an amazing job. It was so fun. I picked out, the outfits, and she took the pictures and she designed the cover. And then I have a children's book, and I have a friend, Rachel Richards. She has her own graphic design company, and the cover was a painting. I had, since it's a kid's book, I wanted a kid to do the illustrations. So she was a high schooler. She's actually grown up now. Her name is Victoria Llewellyn, and she designed the cover, painted it, and she did the illustrations inside. But then
that's so cool.
Yeah, Rachel Richards she kind of transformed the painting into the cover for the book.
Okay.
So I got to do this one on my own.
So what inspired you to want to create your own cover? Was it just something you wanted to try, or?
Yeah, I think I wanted to try. I had been studying.
Because let me tell you, a good cover designer is expensive. I always joke and say my cover designer and editors make more money off my books than I do.
Well, it's true. It is expensive. It's very expensive. And I was blessed that having some friends do it for me, I got a deep discount on those services. But I really wanted to see, I've enjoyed kind of playing around with graphic design. My history is in interior design. And so some of those elements transfer over. So I wanted to play around with it, and I liked it. And
so did you do it like through Photoshop or?
I did it a way you should never do.
Oh, how did you do it?
I used Microsoft Publisher.
Really?
Yeah, which I drew.
It looks great.
All of this, and Publisher is not made for that. It's not made for this kind. It's really good for the interior of books, but the exterior it's not. So they're discontinuing Publisher. I'm really sad, and I'm learning a new program, Affinity, which it's like a tri-package deal with photo publishing and graphic design. So yeah,
interesting. I would love to create because I like dabbling in creative stuff like that. I can't make anything that looks good. A friend of mine, Kirsten Modulin, she's a suspense author, and she always and her covers look fantastic. So she came here and did a book signing with us one time. She lives in the Nashville area. And so she came down here. She and I did a book signing together over at Chapters on Main. That's our local bookstore. Yes. And I was like, oh my goodness, I said, your covers are so fantastic. I said, if you don't mind, I'm asking who does your covers? And she goes, oh, I do. She said, I'm not paying $1,000 for someone else to do it when I can do it myself.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, I wish I had that talent. So I asked her, I said, do you do it in Photoshop? And she goes, believe it or not, I do it in Canva.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was shocked because I use Canva to make just quick little graphics like YouTube thumbnails for the podcast and stuff. So I did go in and sort of try to make them myself, but I just can't make them look good. I guess I just don't have that skill.
I have 3 teenagers and they use Canva and they're like, Mom, you need to use Canva. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just a new thing to have to learn. So I've committed to learning Affinity, and my kids use Canva. I got them the Affinity program. They do it like they've just grown up doing this thing. It's so easy for them. I think
kids just adapt well to that because they grew up with that. You and I, we kind of were ushered into the technology age, and so it's not quite as intuitive.
Boards for our school projects.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So they're lucky that they kind of. It's kind of second skin to them.
It is totally yes. You can do it though. Just keep working on it. You can do your cover. You can get it.
Well, I'm telling you, it would save so much money. And I love my cover designer. I don't want to put her out of a job, but oh my goodness, it would save so much money.
Your covers are great.
Oh, thank you.
I love on War Song just the play of the dark with the light. I'm like, I love that where the light just kind of shines and sticks out.
And that's exactly what we wanted because that's sort of an overlying theme of the book.
Yes,
spiritual warfare, the dark, the good versus evil, the light versus the dark. And so I wanted that a visual representation of that in the cover.
Yes. Well, and she nailed it. She did a great job.
She did a great job with that. Yeah. And funny thing about her is she lives in Germany.
Really?
I did not know that until she was working on the third cover. And of course, we were doing concept meetings and everything like that. And we weren't talking to each other. We do it via email.
Yes.
And so anyway, I said, well, where are you from? I said, after all these years of us working together, I don't even know what state you live in. And she goes, oh, well, I live in Germany. I was like, really?
Well, that's where technology is just amazing once again.
It is. Yeah, exactly. So one of these days, maybe I can make my own cover. But Canva, I did get a free trial of Canva probably a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I will say, I think it is easier. I just do the free version because really I can find enough graphics in the free side of it.
Yeah.
I do think in order to make a decent cover, you really have to have the premium version of Canva.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, I have my students, they had to do because I teach a writing class, and they had to make an advertisement, and one of them, her advertisement was for Canva Pro. And she used Canva to design it. So I'm like, maybe I do need to get into Canva too.
Well, and I am not a graphic designer. I've never been taught. Literally everything that I've learned, I have learned on my own.
Yeah.
And I will say Canva is very intuitive for what I've used it for. So maybe I just need to bite the bullet, do the professional version of Canva and just give it a shot.
Give it a try. It takes work, but when you figure something out like that, you can really utilize it to your power.
Exactly. So. Yeah. So maybe you should try it too one of these days.
Probably.
So tell us a little bit about, you just mentioned that you homeschool.
I do. So, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
I have 3 teenagers, a girl and 2 boys, and we've been this is our 4th year to homeschool, or our 4th year, and it's going well. And I really like that it's flexible, because I have 2 in high school, and I know the school system's great, but we can just study these really cool things. Like I have a son who's really into geology. So he takes this course on OutSchool, and they study like all these elements. He loves it. Wow. So I love the flexibility, and I'm able to teach. We have a co-op that we go to every Monday, and I teach a writing class. I'm going to be teaching another class on biblical archaeology next semester, which I'm not an expert on, but yeah, I really enjoy it.
I had the pleasure of talking to her students once about writing.
Yes, so, yes. And I may need you to come back, because that same class I taught 2 years ago, I'm teaching next semester. So I have a whole new group of students.
Oh, yay. Well, I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah.
Speaking is not one of my things, but I've been to school several times, and I'm just like, well, I'm just going to have to get used to doing it.
You did great. You did great. And I'm sorry, I had you come on and talk about romance, because I thought for some reason that's what you wrote. And then you're talking about spiritual warfare. And I thought he needs to come. We need to do a segment, study Christian fiction, because it was the different genres that books are written. And I need to come have you talk about Christian fiction.
Yeah. Well, in my first couple of books, probably my first 2 were more romance centric.
Yes.
My third one, it's not really romance. It's more family drama. I think with book 3, I started transitioning more into family drama, because I'm like, why am I writing romance fiction? Because I don't even like reading it, and like, let's like 99.9% of Christian fiction is romance, which absolutely drives me nuts, because
you're helping the market shift a little bit on that.
But the typical Christian fiction reader likes reading romance. So like I'm stuck with the conundrum. Do I want to do I want to go out and do something different and not get as many readers, or do I want to cater to what everybody wants? So it's a conundrum.
No, I think the spiritual warfare is a really important subgenre to write in. I can see why the romance, if you think about it, like God and the church, Jesus and the church, it's a romance. He loves his church like a bride. So I can see why that message resonates with Christians.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do need a variety of
I just wish there were more readers that enjoyed reading. We actually had this discussion once at a writers conference I was at, to where we were talking, and the conversation came up of men reading Christian fiction. And one of the authors, she was like, men just typically don't read Christian fiction. And of course, we were there as Christian fiction authors, so they were like, and I was like one of 3 there. So
one of 3 men?
One of 3 men there.
And lots of women
and then there were like 100 women. Yeah. So I was literally in the minority.
Okay.
And they were like, Brett, what can we do to get more men to pick up our books to read them? I said, well, I'll tell you what you can do, but you're probably not going to like my answer. And they're like, no, tell us. I was like, men don't read Christian fiction because all you churn out is romance. I mean, and there are men out there that like romance.
Occasionally, yeah.
I'll pick up a romance and read it, because honestly, sometimes that's the only option. I mean, just non-romance books and Christian fiction are so far and few between.
Yes.
But I said, that's why when I first started, I did do more romance centric, because that feels like that's what Christian fiction is. But then I was like, okay, maybe I could focus more on family dynamics than romance.
Yes.
And maybe that will still catch the same readers. And I don't know. So,
I get it. I don't write romance. I don't even think I could. I think it'd be a really terrible story if I tried. So
yeah.
I get that. The family dynamics is kind of where my books fall to.
Yeah. And that's what I really enjoy reading. It's like, how many times, and all romances are the same, a man and woman meet.
The archetype. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they like each other right away, or usually they both like each other right away, but one or both of them always think the other doesn't like them. So you have that whole angst because, oh my gosh, if only that person liked me, they finally
Right.
get together. Then of course you have that one misunderstanding that splits them apart.
Uh-huh.
And then it's just like, they're cookie cutter.
It can be formulaic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for those readers, I mean, if you have readers who are dedicated, they like that, you can crank those books out and do
Exactly.
really well with that.
You can. And that's why I kind of struggle with it. It's not like, maybe I just need to jump on the formula train and because I would like to, I know I probably am never going to make enough to do this full time because I mean, even well-known authors, in talking to them on the podcast, you'd be surprised how many authors in Christian fiction that you recognize that work a job outside of authoring.
Yeah.
At least part-time.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's hard to make a living as an author because
is true.
I mean, you need Francine Rivers level sales in order to do it full time. And
it's hard to be Francine Rivers.
That's why there's only Francine Rivers and Karen Kingsbury are about it.
Yes,
there's a few more, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about. Okay, so her books are written under R.M. Snider.
All my adult books are
Snider.
Yes.
So why do you go with R.M. Snider instead of Rachel Snider?
Well, I had to. So that is because I had to come up with my pen name years ago, and my husband's sister is Rachel, and so she's Rachel Snider. And people would get us confused because we went to the same college, and I didn't want the confusion there. Now she's married now, so she has a different last name. But back then, that was why I made that decision. So, and then I wrote my kids' books under Rachel Reddens, which I didn't want, kids, they get on Google and they Google their favorite author. And there are some Rachel Sniders out there that have some unfavorable content, and I didn't want some kid to come across it. So I said, I'm going to have to change my name. And my husband said, well, why don't you spell Snider backwards? And it's Reddens. And I was like, that's genius. So
that is brilliant.
I'm married to a genius. Yeah.
Wow.
So I write under Rachel Reddens. And if you Google it, very few things besides me come up. So Google, if you're going to come up with a pen name, Google it first and see what comes up.
Yes.
So,
and I even do that when I'm titling a book. The first thing I do is go to Amazon and see how many books are by that name.
Yeah.
I don't want to publish a book where there's 100 other books by that title. Yeah. Yes. So that's a pretty, and I wondered too, I've got another author friend that we had on the podcast. Her name is C.O. Weiler. Her name is Constance, but she writes under C.O. Weiler. She does Rapture style books.
Oh,
and so we, of course, sort of had the same conversation. Well, why do you write under initials rather than your name? And she said, because I want men to pick up my books too.
Okay.
And she said, most men are not, I mean, I don't necessarily, like I'm a male reader. I have no qualms with reading. I don't really care what gender the author is.
Yeah.
But apparently that's a thing with some readers. And she felt like she would get more male readers pick up her book if she and honestly, I've wondered if that has been part of my problem too. I waffled back and forth when I first started writing because there are so few male authors in Christian fiction.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, I toyed around with maybe writing under a female pseudonym.
Okay, Bretta.
Or just, something, And so I actually thought about that, but I was like, no, if I write a book, I want people to know it's me.
Right.
Yeah. But of course, at that time, I was naive and thought people that know me will actually be excited to pick up my books and read them. I have found this is not the case. I could probably count on one hand of people that I personally know that have read my books. And that includes mom and dad.
Well, I have had a lot of support from people I know, but then there are people I know that I know they've never read my books. And I'm like, that's okay. You know, some people aren't readers. And so, and if you have a limited amount of time, it's like, do I want to invest in someone I've never read, even though I know that person? And Jesus was not honored in his hometown. And so I
always
see that.
go back to that when we're talking about, that's always what I go back to. Yeah. Jesus, he was not honored in his own hometown.
Right. So I think if people know you, maybe they're prejudging the book, but I have some wonderful, wonderful friends and family who have dedicated read every single book I've ever written, and that's been a blessing to me to have that.
And I do have several people that have been like, I'm just not much of a reader, but I still buy your books just because I know you, and like, so I can be like, I actually know that author. Yeah. So I have had several people say, maybe one of these days I'll sit around, or they'll be like, I read a chapter or two and I really liked it, but I'm not a reader. So I'll take that too.
Yeah.
So yeah. So all right, let's kind of go into writing. You and I are both indie authors.
Yes.
And I don't know if you even have an answer for this or not, but what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that indie authors face today? For people that are listening that may not be authors.
Right.
I thought we might sort of give them a little bit of insight into what we do.
Right. I think for me, a personal challenge is marketing. I don't have the background in marketing, and I study it and I try the tactics, and it's like it flops, and usually, and I'm like, is it me? Am I doing it wrong? Or, so that's been a big challenge. And I think, whenever I published my first book, I was just so eager to get a book out there, and I didn't really stop and allow kind of some editorial help and others to help me polish it. Yes. I had a glaring homophone error on the first page of my first book.
Oh no. Which is not a good place to have.
It does not set the tone well.
Yeah, and like I do, like when I read a book, especially an author that I've never heard of, that I've never read, I read the Amazon sample, and you do not want your book to be very well in the first 10% of the book, because that's how much a reader can read.
And yes, definitely. So I think, take the time, do your pre-marketing, make sure your book is really well polished, and have some other eyes look at it and give you feedback. I know you use an editor, and it's very important.
And actually have a lot of great beta readers. So there is so much value in beta readers.
Yes, absolutely.
They really help me clean my books up before it goes to the editor. And my editor is so appreciative of it.
Yes. So. Yeah. It makes a huge difference. And I think readers can tell if you've done the work, or you've just kind of shot it out. And really my first 4 books, when I did them, I just was so excited, and I got them out there, and they're good, but I've learned that you need some extra help to help you polish that up.
Yes. So. Well, and I made the same mistake. It's so exciting to write a book for the first time. I don't know about you, but especially the first time I wrote a book, but really I do it every time I write a book. Even though, and I'm on my 7th one right now. I'm about to publish my 8th.
Yeah.
And like every time I write a book, I'm like, am I going to be able to finish it? Am I going to be able to finish it? So, once I got the first one written, I was just so excited to get it out there. Of course, I read through it several times, and I thought, okay, it's good. I didn't think I needed an editor. If you are listening to me right now, maybe you haven't published yet, you do need an editor.
Yes. Get an editor, and those beta readers get a little bit of feedback from other people. Because I write things, and to me it's clear, and I understand it, but then you get it down, and somebody might not understand what's going on, or there's just so many things, plot points that drop, or timeline issues.
And it's hard to edit your own work, because your mind knows what you wrote. Your mind knows what you're trying to say.
Yes.
And it's so easy. Like I was shocked. So that's my biggest regret to publishing, is that I didn't take the time to do it right from the beginning. But of course, I've never known. I'm the only author that I know. I mean, I know more now, just,
at the time.
But at the time, I didn't personally know any authors.
I didn't either.
And so I really feel like maybe people probably may have picked it up the first time, and they're like, oh, this guy's not a good writer, because I didn't take the time to get it edited. I didn't even use beta readers. And so it probably was bad. And so I feel like I may have turned a lot of readers off in the beginning, because I was putting out subpar work.
Well, the good thing is you can go back,
and I have.
You can, and I know several authors who have gone back to their first few novels and polished them up and republished with a different cover, sometimes even a different name, different ISBN, and that's made a difference. I've thought about doing that, and it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
I don't have the time right now to do that, but at some point I might.
Well, and I really didn't want to do, and I'll tell you, one of the main reasons why I did it, because again, at the beginning, I had 4 books completely written before I ever published anything.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
they were totally written.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't thinking like, I knew I wanted my book to be in the 300 to 350 page range. So when I was writing my book, I had 350 pages of Microsoft Word.
Oh, you didn't do your word count.
Yes, I wasn't going by word count. Of course, at the
Yes.
time, I didn't know in publishing, they don't go by page count. They go
Right.
by word count.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many Word document pages
No,
you
it
have.
doesn't. Well, of course, when you format a book down into a 6x9, that 300 to 350 pages becomes 500 plus pages.
Right.
Well, every one of my first books were like 500 plus pages.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, I was thrilled. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so good. I didn't realize that readers these days have
daunting.
Well, it's daunting.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I feel like social media has killed people's attention spans.
Yes.
Even people who are avid readers that love to read, they don't want to read 500-page books.
Yeah.
So that's why I've actually gone in and redone some of mine because first of all, I'm a better writer in the technical sense now.
Yes.
So I did want to do some polishing, but I wanted to cut the page cut down to where people wouldn't be like, ooh, 530 pages, skip. Sounds good, but skip.
Yeah. Les Miserables never would make it today. It's just,
no.
People don't have that attention
they
span,
just don't.
which
And
is so sad.
And it is so sad. And like, I don't mind reading longer books if I'm really enjoying the book. Now, it is hard to slug through a book that's that long if you're not really enjoying it.
Yes, absolutely. Like reading a textbook or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I did it. In my War Songs book, I just recently finished a editing down of that. I brought it down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I brought it down from 540 pages to like 304.
Wow.
So I cut 150 pages. And let me tell you, that hurt.
Well, see, I read that one as an ebook, so I don't remember now. It didn't seem like it was super long, like it would have been a 500-page paperback.
Oh, okay.
But maybe it was. I was enjoying it, so
maybe,
okay. Yeah, maybe
it
that's
probably
why.
was because the new version literally just came out in the last month.
Okay, no, then I haven't read the new version.
Oh, okay.
There's so much now. I feel like there's so much I would have missed if I'd read the new version.
Well, that's what people that I've actually talked to, like when I put on social media that I was, working on whittling that book down. I had so many people say, "Oh, please don't mess with it. I love it just the way it is."
You can have the old version and the new version, and
and that's why I was like, okay, if you want the classic version of it, you better snatch it up now because I just felt like maybe that'll help get a few more sales if it's not as long of a book.
Yeah.
So. Well, newbie mistake number 2.
And it costs
Watch
less.
your word count.
Yeah. To print a book has fewer pages, it costs less.
It does.
Which means there's more margin of profit for you.
Yeah.
So
instead of having to pay $21 for a paperback, you can bring it down to $12 or $13.
Right. Yeah. Definitely more affordable that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've learned a lot in there.
Yeah.
So marketing for you.
And I'll say one other thing, just advice for any author. Any kind of talent or hobby or sport, you have to practice, and writing is the same way. The more that you practice writing,
absolutely,
just the better you get. And studying, like reading up on it, doing your research. And there were so many things about writing, just the writing style that I did not know whenever I first started. I'll tell you that doing research for the writing class that I'm teaching, it's been really informational for me. I've enjoyed it because I learned so much that I have to teach my students, and I'm like, I'm a better writer just because I had to teach them how to be writers.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, this may not be true, but this is sort of the way I think about it. I think that's one reason why the romance genre is so popular for writers, because you don't really have to put much into it. All you got to do is just churn it out and put it out, and people will devour it.
Formulate.
I don't really feel like there's a lot of research in that unless you've got somebody in there that maybe you need to do a little bit of research on whatever career they have or whatever. But I think that may be why romance is so popular among authors, because there's really not a lot to them.
Well, and I will say, when I was teaching the class and we were studying the different genres, each genre has kind of the tropes, each has their own tropes, and romance was the one exception. It has tropes, but the tropes are actually the different archetypes that the story, it's how the people meet. And that determines kind of the path that the romance takes. So you have like the meet cute, the fish out of water, and that, so it's, romance is unique in that way, but it can be way more formulaic because you have to pick one of these recognizable.
Grumpy versus sunshine.
Yes.
All the different subgenres that you can go into.
Yeah. So it's unique, but then it also is formulaic for that reason. So who knows, maybe it'll evolve,
maybe, or, but I mean, again, nothing wrong with romance. I just wish there was more substance to Christian fiction. And there are some authors that don't and do well, like Joel Rosenberg. He writes like, military action adventure type books, which is not really a book that I gravitate toward.
Right.
But his books are phenomenal.
Yeah. And he's a Christian fiction.
He's Christian fiction. I actually like to listen to his podcast because he takes modern day what's going on in the world and he equates it to end time prophecy.
Oh, wow.
So I really enjoy listening to him because we don't have in the day and age we're in right now. I am just flabbergasted that more pastors do not preach on the end times. Wow. I mean, we're literally on the heels of end time prophecy. So
there's a lot of substance there. You could be writing. More authors could write about this.
Yeah. But again, it's not a genre that people on my spiritual warfare. Sometimes people are afraid of spiritual warfare. And I'm talking Christians. It scares them. I'm like, okay, Christians of all people should not be scared of it.
No. But we know how this battle ends. And so, we're on the winning side. So
exactly,
not scary.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a little bit about flash publishing.
Okay.
I've got a friend. This girl churns out 6 or 7 books a year.
That's incredible.
I do not understand. I mean, more power to you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Incredible.
I just cannot do that. I'm lucky. I have published 2 in a year once.
Yes.
But it only happens if I publish very early in the year and then very late in the year. Of course, her writing career has exponentially taken off.
Okay.
But
still, I mean, if that was your only job,
and it is her only job now.
To process that quickly and to just write a whole story, that's incredible. That's very incredible. Out of all my books, I only have one that I wrote quickly. I wrote the very first one in about a month, and the rest took probably years to do each one, or I should say months to do. But just to be able to come up with that much content in that quick amount of time is incredible.
I mean, I have a lot of potential books in my mind, and I wish I could turn them out that fast.
Yes.
But I'm more concerned with quality over quantity. I want my books to be as good as they can.
Right. Well, and some people may be able to crank them out that quickly and maintain quality. I don't know that I could do that. But when it comes to quality versus quantity, I definitely am on the side of quality. If it comes down to that, then, absolutely. Yeah. But you said you had 4 books before you even published one, and I think that can be a really wise strategy especially if you're going to do a series first, to get them all written. And then you can kind of just publish one after another, because readers, like you said, they like to binge on their favorite authors. And so if you capture their attention with that first book and then you have 3 more come out right after that, then those are almost guaranteed sales.
They don't have time to forget about you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. If you have a year between your books, then, they've moved on.
Yeah.
So.
But flash publishing is really a relatively new trend in publishing. There were probably others before him, but James Patterson, I feel like he really kind of jump-started, because that's actually why I stopped reading him. I used to read his quite a bit, but it got to the point where he was publishing so many, I couldn't keep up with them.
Does he use ghostwriters? I'm not sure. I don't know if he does.
I don't, he may, I don't know.
Okay.
But I have noticed when he started pushing out, a book every 3 months or 4 months, he was taking on co-writers.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, I'm wondering if maybe JD, I think JD Barker, I think that's his name, is one of them.
Okay.
I think probably they're probably doing the majority of the writing, and then maybe he's going in and sort of, I don't know if he does it as a way to mentor authors and help propel them.
Which is a really neat thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, that would be incredible to have a mentor like that, like a one who's actually established and can help you.
And if you're not the ghostwriter, if your name's on the book, James Patterson with so-and-so, then it's like people see your name and it's out there.
That gives you validity as a writer. And he does, J.D. Barker has started writing on his own now.
Okay.
And it's because he used James Patterson. Now, I don't know. He may have had books before James Patterson, but like it gave him a pedestal. And now people that really like James Patterson, they're more willing to pick up one of his books as a solo because there's that connection.
Yes. So. Yeah. It's kind of like in music, Toby Mac does that. He'll bring in newer artists and I don't know if it's mentoring them or what, but they'll be on an album with him and then they can kind of verge off and do their own thing. And I just think that's really awesome to do that because.
And you don't see that a lot in Christian fiction.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen, I mean, I've seen authors co-write, but usually they're both established authors.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But to have that new person come in,
if I ever become a big name author, I'm going to do that. I'm going to help other authors.
Yes.
And I would love to help somebody along the way so they don't have to do it by themselves from the very beginning like I did. I mean, I've literally learned it all as I have gone along.
Yeah.
Made a lot of mistakes along the way. I wish I knew then what I knew now.
Yes.
Life wouldn't be any fun if we were born knowing what to do the first time, would it?
No.
It would be kind of boring. Mm-hmm. Well, let's move into the book. Tell them again what it's called.
Okay, so this is my latest book, The Improbable Existence of Life After Divorce. It's a mouthful to say. So in my house, we abbreviate it Tie of Lad. We just use the abbreviation, and I didn't even know, I didn't think of the abbreviation when I gave him a bow tie, but I'm like, Tie of Lad, it goes with it. So,
it goes.
Yeah. So my kids, they don't say the whole, they just say Tie of Lad. So it's a
kind of like Akatar. In the secular world. Sarah J. Maas, her titles are kind of long too, and everyone, I've never read any of her books, but everyone calls them by the mnemonic.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, mnemonic. Okay. Yeah. So it's a contemporary comedy. It's clean. It does not, I didn't publish it under the Christian genre, but if you're a Christian, there are definitely Christian elements in it. And if you're not a Christian, it certainly doesn't offend, or it's not in your face. So it's a clean comedy. There are some heavier topics. I mean, divorce is in the title, but it's handled in a lighthearted way and really an introspective way. That was a big part of it. So you have Russell Brown. He's the guy that's on the cover. He's the main character. He's a history professor at a Christian university in Arkansas. And opening scene, everybody's just discovered that he had an affair with one of his college students. He's lost everything. He lost his job.
Big taboo when you work in a university.
Especially a Christian university.
Yes.
Yeah. So he lost his career, his reputation, his wife. And he loves his wife dearly. And his first thought really is, how did I get here? I was a husband of fidelity. I was an influential spiritual leader to all these students. And now I'm here. I'm a shamed adulterer. How did I get here? How did I make this choice? And so for really the first half of the book, he's asking himself this question, but he's in grief. So you got these two parts of your brain. You have the prefrontal cortex that helps you make good decisions. And then you have the amygdala, which is just your fight, flight, freeze. And he's really kind of stuck there. And he kind of comes off at times as kind of a bubbling idiot. But he's not really, he's not in the right part of his brain. He's grieving this loss, even though it's of his own making. So,
well, grief and just when you're having to face the fact that you did something stupid in your life, that affects the way you are in life, the way you react to things.
Absolutely.
It affects your behavior.
Yes.
So it totally makes sense.
Yeah. And also in the first chapter, so he has to move back to his childhood home, which is with his grandma. His Meemaw is her name. and she
I
passes
call
away.
my grandma Meemaw.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Aww.
my mom's mom. Yeah.
I didn't have a Meemaw. I have a Nana and a grandmother, but Meemaw is a good one. It's a very endearing term. And
it is.
But she passes away, and she's the woman really who raised him. And so there is a lot of heavy grief that he's dealing with. Now, on the flip side, you have his friend Stem. His friend Stem sometimes tries to steal the show a little bit. So and
he's always eating junk food.
He has a junk food addiction for sure. So he's an Australian. He's a physics professor at the university. He's very quirky. He has his own personality, but one flawless thing about him is he's just loyal to his friend Russ. And he was very affected by Russ's choice because Russ and his wife Katie were just an integral part of Stem's life. Yeah. And now that they're separated, that affects his life greatly.
And that's a good moral lesson. Our mistakes often affect other people. It doesn't affect just us.
Yes, very much so. But he's just flawlessly loyal to Russ. And it's really his attention to Russ and his dedication that helps Russ. There's a pivotal moment in the book, and right in the very middle chapter, where Stem makes a big confession. And that is the point when Russ goes from his grief in the first half to he's able to look now actually inside himself. He can quit asking, why did I do this? Why did I do this? And he can actually begin to answer that question himself.
Yeah.
And so Stem's a very important part of that. And Meemaw, when she passes away, just before she passes away, she's poor. You could say that this is kind of a white redneck family. They're in White County, Arkansas. And she bequeaths to Russ a key that goes to Peepaw's storage shed. Now, Peepaw was Meemaw's husband, and he disappeared in the 1990s. He's the town's longest running unsolved missing persons case. And she gives him a key to a storage shed that he had totally even forgot that his Peepaw had. He'd never even been there. And Stem encourages Russ. Let's go clean out Peepaw's storage shed. And it is in the shed that they find completely unexpected discoveries, and it propels the story. There's twists and unexpected turns that it takes because of that. And kind of in the end, it becomes a race against time. There's going to be some serious, almost worldwide repercussions because of what was found in this storage shed if they don't take action immediately. So so that kind of ramps up the suspense in the latter half of the book. So,
and I will say, when Meemaw dies, anytime anyone in the family dies, especially a matriarch or patriarch, you see the true colors of the people in the family.
He has some very colorful cousins.
He has some very,
They come in like the locusts in Egypt, and her house is cleaned out within just one evening, So, and poor Russ, he's living there. He's literally, they take his clothes. He has nothing left. And so he loses literally everything in the first two chapters of the book. So he's got nowhere to go but up from there.
Yeah, and then this one particular cousin, once he finds out that they have the key to the shed, he wants to get his grubby little paws on the shed so he can see what he can get out of there too.
Yeah, if he was a little bit smarter, he'd be the ultimate villain, but he's just a little too... Yeah,
he's too redneck stupid.
He is. He really, poor Lance.
Yeah. So it was a fun book. Do we kind of want to go into it just a little bit without giving spoilers into what they find in there, or do we want to leave that to the readers to find out?
I'll tell a little bit about it.
Okay. We're going to be very careful not to give spoilers here because we want you to read it
right. So, their first kind of venture, the key has the number 42B, and Meemaw tells him, here's where the storage shed is located. It's in this random town, rural down this rural road called Mermaid Lane, and it's at the very end. And I don't even know. I mean, it never indicates that Meemaw even had really been there. Maybe she has been there, but nobody in the family had ever visited it.
Yeah. Now, if I remember correctly, it's been a
Uh-huh.
few weeks since I've read it.
Yeah.
When they went there, like the entrance to it was sort of covered up with debris and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Was that intentional? Like, did Peepaw do that because he didn't want anyone to be able, or was it just from neglect?
It was just from neglect. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a very old, kind of like a farmhouse, sort of a shed almost, but from like the prairie days, very old. And so it's kind of dilapidated, and the roof has caved in, and it's covered the actual door because they walk into this building and it looks like it's empty, which is really a letdown because they're expecting there to be something.
They wanted something that he could sell on eBay.
Well, yeah. And at the time, he's thinking he would really like to solve this mystery too of what happened to Peepaw. Yeah. You know, where did he go? You
can't just disappear.
Vanished, and
although it has happened to people, but it's not common.
Right. Yeah, there were no clues as to his whereabouts. So they walk in and it looks deserted, but they end up finding under a pile of debris an actual door that goes down and underground.
Yes.
And so you mentioned the eBay thing. So they go down into the dark pits of the earth, and there are
some cool stuff.
There's a lot of cool
sword.
Stuff. A sword. There's a Mayan mask, and Peepaw was a welder, so he could weld metal objects together. So that is the assumption. This is where these things came from. Peepaw, and there's just shelves lined with all these metal antiquities or artifacts, and there's a great variety of different things. And so Stem's like, look, you are broke, Russ. You work. Now he makes minimum wage working at a gadget store. And he's like, you need to take these things and sell them on eBay. This is for your own livelihood. So they do take stuff. And there are some surprising discoveries on how the things are selling, and which leads to more discoveries about Peepaw and the things down in the basement of the storage shed. So
yeah
it's mysterious, and answers, you find out the answers as you go along in the book.
And then of course when they find the big ta-da, we're not going to tell you what it is. To me, that's really where the book started getting really fun. Because you're definitely. Like, okay, what are they going to do with this? And are they going to destroy the world? You know,
there is something down there that could destroy the world for sure.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So it was just a fun book.
I enjoyed writing it. You know,
did you?
Yes.
Where did the idea come for that? Like, how did you even come up with that?
So I looked back, and the date that I started writing it was May of 2020. We all know what was happening in May of 2020. So I clearly had like cabin fever or something. And I think what initially started it though was a long time ago. I wrote this blog post called How to Break Up Without Getting Divorced. And the title was catchy enough that it was kind of clickbait. People just clicked on it to read it. And the whole premise of that was, these are things you need to look out for before you marry someone, red flags to look out for, so that you don't end up, having things happen in marriage that lead to divorce. And I thought, I guess in May of 2020, I thought, if I could come up with, could I come up with a book title that kind of had some kind of catchy ring to it? And probably because of the divorce title of the first blog post, that's probably why just immediately this title came into my head, The Improbable Existence of Life After Divorce. We think of life after death, but this is kind of a play on that. And immediately, as soon as I came up with the title, like Russ and Stem, these two main characters, they were just in my head. And they had their own personalities, and
did they. Yeah. Well, and one thing I really liked about this book, again, that you don't see a lot, I really liked seeing the dynamic of two male friends.
Yes. They're close friends, and it's not a romance. And Russ's whole goal in all this is to try to get back together with his wife that he loves dearly.
Yes.
But there's this camaraderie between the two of them, just this really tight-knit friendship that they have, and they benefit each other. It's mutually beneficial. And
I feel like just in literature in general, and again, nothing wrong with it, but I feel like literature has it's kind of a popular trend to have female characters and you don't see a lot of books with male characters
That's
anymore.
very true. And apparently they don't sell as well if they're a male lead versus a female lead for some. And in my
probably
mind,
because most readers are female.
yes, probably. I have a hard time writing with a female lead. I would say my caveat to all that, my first series is 4 books and it has a female lead character, but there is a close second character in that one who's a male. And but all the books that I think of now, they all have a male lead, and I don't know, that's just kind of where my brain is now.
See, that's interesting with you being a female author that you write men easier. That's so interesting to me.
I think I understand men better. I think I'm probably slightly on the autism spectrum, and the emotions of women are a little bit difficult for me to understand at times, and men seem more straightforward. And you have deep emotions, but it's more linear and it's easier for me to understand. And I have to say, this book, a lot of the inspiration for it too came from my own marriage, kind of the death and resurrection of my own marriage. And so I have learned a lot about my husband, and that has helped me to write male characters. And so
do you confer with him about, okay, how would a guy do this? How would a guy say this? What would a guy do in this situation?
For the most part, no, but I definitely have. What would you do in this case? There have been a few times that I've asked him that, and he's always very helpful and very supportive. So I have a good husband.
Yeah.
I would not have always said that because we did have some troubles, but God was blessing us and we were able to overcome that. And parts of that, things that helped us, were also kind of some things that I included in the book. So.
Yeah. And I like writing from the male perspective too, just because, first of all, I'm a male. And plus I see, as an avid reader myself, I've seen the dwindling nature of male protagonists. Mm-hmm. Usually the male is the jerk or the whatever, right, or they're just somewhere in the background. So I sort of, kind of as a way to get around that, in my first few books, I would take, in the first book, it's an eating disorder book. Well, that's typically something that is a female driven illness. Mm-hmm. So I decided to take that, flip the script, and make it a man. Mm-hmm. And then on the second book, Lost Song, it was a man in a heartbreak. Well, usually when you're heartbreak, the woman's always the one that heartbreak, and the man is the conniving jerk that everybody loves to hate. I am starting to incorporate a few female leads in because, again, I think most readers, to me, it doesn't matter whether the protagonist is male or female. If I'm enjoying the story, I don't care what gender. But it's so surprising to me how readers they only want a female protagonist. Yeah.
Well, it definitely can, feel like that. And so I did receive some criticism because from someone, and they said, I had a hard time sympathizing with him because he was the one with Russ, because he's the one who committed the affair. I would rather have seen how his wife moved past this. And I thought, well, that's not the story. And I don't even think that her story would have been as interesting. No criticism to her, but she didn't have the crazy events happen that he had. And so it's his story that I needed to tell. And
and it was about navigating a horrible event from his perspective.
Right. He made a mistake. And, that happens. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, and we already know what happened to her. She got mad and said, "I don't want anything more to do with you." I mean, what else can you say about that?
Right. Yeah. So I don't think she had. I'm sure hers was. It would have been difficult to write as funny, for sure. It would have been challenging to have written it as a comedy because she had that genuine heartbreak of discovering that her husband.
And that's the ultimate betrayal.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't think it would have been nearly as funny
Well, but this may go back to, again, that was a female reviewer that told you that.
It was, yeah.
And again, this is the difference between men and women. She probably wanted more of that side of the story because women like the emotional, heart-rending. I know I'm being very broad here. I know not all women fit into the same category.
Right.
Whereas that may not be the case for men. So
Mhm.
I like the way you wrote it.
Well, thank
that
you.
it didn't focus on all the angst and
Yeah.
how dare you, and I like that it took a more humorous approach to, and it doesn't diminish. He knew he did something wrong.
Right.
He regretted what he did.
Yeah.
He had constant thoughts of, why did I do this? If only I could go back and do it over.
And that's a big part of it.
That's a big part of it.
We don't always, sometimes we're stuck in our grief. Why did this happen? Why did, and we have to move past that.
You have to make a conscious
look
effort.
inside. He thinks at one point in the story, my life was great until I did this. And his friend Stem is like, I don't think that's true. I think there's other things that contributed to you having an affair. And when Russ really looks at it, he realizes there's been years of things, years of signs that things were not right for him. And it just all kind of culminated into this. And I think that, so my husband and I.
So do you think Russ knew that? Like,
no.
Or it took Stem pointing it out?
Yes. It took kind of Stem's confession and then Stem pointing that out. And that was the pivotal moment for Russ. It was like, well, maybe actually you're right. There is a lot more to this going on. I think a lot of people, when they get themselves in a jam because of their actions, they think that that's the problem. And a lot of times, if you do the introspective work, if you go to like a 12-step recovery.
Doing that's the hard part. Doing the introspective part and coming to terms with, okay, I'm the one at fault here. That it takes courage.
That does. And that takes hard work.
And some people don't want to do the introspective thing.
Well, if you want to do it, then attend a Celebrate Recovery or 12-step program, because you can't say it's for those people, because we're all those people. I mean, we all have something inside us that needs some work.
Exactly.
And that's a healthy thing. Like, people
come
out of that so much healthier and better off, and knowing so much more about themselves. So that's Russ kind of figures all that out too.
Yeah. And he does, you mentioned, what would that 12-step program?
Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah, Celebrate Recovery. My church has one of those.
Okay,
they have a Celebrate.
Yeah, we do too at ours.
Recovery. Yeah, and it's a great program. I've never actually been through it, but it was kind of fun to see that sort of mentioned in there. That's sort of the Christian version of a 12-step program.
Yes. Yeah. I think John Baker.
He did make the steps to recover from his indiscretion.
Yeah. Well, and that's assumed. I didn't have time to take him through the whole 9 months of the 12-step program.
No. Yeah, no. That would have been a boring read.
but it is assumed that that's what happens. And you can see the outcome of that and kind of the end of the last chapter and the epilogue too. You can see the outcome of that. So.
Yeah. Now Russ worked, was it Harding University?
Yes, Harding University.
Okay, my question is, Harding University, that's an actual university in one of our surrounding areas.
Right. Christian University.
Did you have to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm gonna use the name of your university in my book?
No, I did not. No, there's no copyright issue or trademark issue. No, I had thought initially that might be kind of a foot in the door.
Well, it might be a way to get a few extra readers too, because our university that we go to is in this book.
Yes. Well, and I have lots of friends actually that went to school there. I have a brother who's a dean of one of the colleges there, and they said, it was so neat to see Cersei and to see the university being a part of the story. So, and my brother, he was one of my kind of editors, because I'm like, look, I need your expertise in making sure. I didn't live in Cersei. I didn't go to Harding, but just needed his expertise. Make sure this is authentic.
Well, you want to capture the spirit of the town that you're writing in.
Yeah. And so my brother-in-law, he's half American, half Australian. He lives in Australia. And he was also one of my other editors, because Stem is Australian. And you find out more about his background. So my brother-in-law helped me with that. He changed some of the words for me. If he's like, in Australia would never say that. Or they'd say, I didn't know that in Australia they say herb instead of herb. So Stem at one point said an herb, And my brother-in-law said, no, he would say a herb. So
Oh, they would put emphasis on the H.
right. So I didn't
Huh.
realize that. So he said, change that and to an A. So just little things like that were very helpful.
But it's the
Yeah.
little things like that elevate it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make it more authentic.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah. And they helped in lots of other kinds of ways too. And my other brother helped. So
I've always said you
Yes.
can't have a great book without a good editor
absolutely.
or good beta readers or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I had 3 really good editor, helper, beta readers on this one.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Fun book, just a fun book. It's nice to pick up a book that you can kind of giggle at along the way. Anything else you want to say about this book?
Let's see. I talked about it has a cool sci-fi hook, and just really relatable characters, quirky, heartbroken, but just intrinsically human.
Yeah. Did you want to go to into any of the sci-fi aspects of it, or do you want to save? Because that could be kind of spoilery.
I'll let the readers figure that out.
Yeah, we can't really say a whole much into that because that would put us into spoiler territory.
Right.
So if you guys are just in the market for a good non-romance read with flawed male characters, this is a great book to pick up.
Right.
Yeah. Again, we do a lot of Christian fiction on here. We do some clean secular fiction along the way. I always like to make sure readers know if it's not Christian fiction. So this is not published under it, but it is clean.
It is clean.
So there's nothing that would offend your sensibilities in it. So we're going to start wrapping this up because we've been here for a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your River series? I have actually read... Is it Rivertown Crooner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the last one.
I did read that years ago.
Did that make sense to just read the last one?
I mean, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I read it fine.
Okay.
I am not a series reader, so like a lot of times, I'll pick up if one of them sounds good, I'll just pick it up.
Yeah. The whole series, you're talking like 400,000 words. So, but out of the 4 books, I mean, that's where the redemption happens, and so that's just the best one. So it's Christian historical fiction. Mm-hmm. It's called the River series. It starts with the book Bordertown Gypsy, and it's set in Fort Smith, Arkansas, about 100 years ago, 19 teens to 1930s. And it follows the story of a young woman named Daniela who just tragedy strikes. She's a child in this large family, and basically everyone in the family dies except for her and her uncle, who is a businessman of few scruples, and he turns their large house into a brothel, a bordello, and she works there. She's young, she's 10, and she sells cigars to the patrons, but skips over several years, and you kind of meet back up with her and realize, well, she does more stuff in the bordello now.
I think if you enjoy Francine Rivers' Redeeming Love, you might enjoy these books.
Yeah, so it definitely, there are some same undertones of
it has sort of the flavor of Redeeming Love. It's not a carbon copy, but
no, definitely not.
I think if you enjoy that, you might enjoy these books.
This one, so it gets fun too, because I mean, I love doing the research for the historical aspect, and it gets into like Chicago in the 1920s, which you have like the Al Capone era. So that was really fun to write. And I did pull in like real people into the story and real events, kind of weave it, but it's her redemption story. There's a family that comes to town, and she's trying to keep her past a secret from their son, who's about her same age, but she needs their help to escape. And ends up, she becomes a part of their family, but it also becomes his story, the son, Robert, that she meets up with, and how he handles things. And so they both have a lot of there's a lot of story there, we all make mistakes, and they make some mistakes. They make some good choices. I would say it's clean, but it's gritty Christian fiction.
Agreed. Yeah.
There's no bad language,
which is what I like.
Yes. People making real mistakes.
Yes. I like flawed people.
Redeeming.
Yeah.
There's redemption. And to me, it's very personal story for me. So it came from a dream, but just my life and Daniela's life ended up just being intertwined, and I needed to help her heal I realized, she has PTSD from this and I needed to help her heal, but I didn't know how to do that because I was dealing with the same thing. And so, like, as my recovery from that was moving along, it acted as a guide for her and able to help her through that. So, it's the more emotional side of things. There's a lot of character, emotion, and thoughts, and there's some spiritual warfare in there too, because there's a character and he has a demon, and yeah, you missed that.
I did. Yeah, I need to go back and read
the first and second book.
Okay.
And but also Daniela's, is she going to listen to the voice of God? She can almost hear it, and it, at times God's guiding her and she's following it. Sometimes she's like, no, I've got this different plan. This is, and we do that too, don't we?
Totally. Yeah.
Then we have to get ourselves out of the mess we've got ourselves in.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Great. So tell them the names of each of those books.
Okay. So they're actually alphabetical: Bordertown Gypsy, Lynchtown Wolf, Mobtown Player, and Rivertown Crooner.
Okay, that's the one I read.
Yeah, and the first and last one are primarily set in Fort Smith, and then the other two, there's some St. Louis, some northern rural Montana, and then some Chicago, lots of Chicago.
Okay, fine. So it kind of hits some of the several neat little towns along the way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe if you want to, maybe you can come back and we'll talk about one of those books.
Yeah, I would love that.
Maybe we could do an episode where you do like just a little bitty crash course on each of the 4 books. So yeah. All right. So if you guys are looking for a new author that you've never read, maybe you should pick up one of these books. Again, tell them what the name of the book is.
This is The Improbable Existence of Life After Divorce by R.M. Snider. And that's my picture on the back, as you can tell. Not an actual photo.
It's like a animated, illustrated.
Yeah. I didn't want my real picture on there.
I don't blame you. There's a lot of people that you may not want them. That's why I'm real careful, like on this podcast. Since we have mostly Christian listeners, I think most of our listeners are safe, but I'm always hesitant to like actually say the name of the town that we live in because there's just a lot of creeps out there.
Yeah.
So we're going to start wrapping this down. We're just going to do a couple of rapid questions and then we're going to end it. Who's your favorite author?
Okay. So auto-buy, you asked me if this author came out with a book. Okay. Absolutely. Her name is Sherry Lynn. And she is on the Brant and Sherry Oddcast. It's a podcast.
Oh, okay.
And they used to be co-hosts long time ago on Air One. And her books are awesome, especially if you're a lady. Pick them up. Her first one is I Want to Punch You in the Face, But I Love Jesus.
I love that.
And the second one is Holy Ghost Mama. So I love Sherry Lynn. She's hilarious and she's so spiritually deep and refreshing. So love it.
Oh, okay. What are you reading right now?
Oh my goodness. I had to write these down. I'm reading The Bible is History by Werner Keller because I'm teaching that biblical archaeology class. Jack by Marilyn Robinson. That's part of the Gilead trilogy. Love it. I started reading The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. Before Halloween, I haven't finished it. It's actually a short story, but my daughter keeps stealing the book from me. So, local author Judy Harrington. Do you know her? I'm reading Shane Dakota. That one I read in the car when I'm waiting on my kids to do their different activities. And then I love Agatha Christie and her.
Can you believe I've never read one of her books?
Oh my word!
I know I've got to. We're going to do it on the podcast one of these days.
Oh, I love it. So this is probably one of her maybe her last book, Elephants Can Remember.
Oh, okay.
And I read maybe her second to last book, Halloween Party, which is what A Haunting in Venice is very loosely based on. It was kind of sort of a horror movie, but Elephants Can Remember is a little bit different.
Oh, okay. So there's some good recommendations if you're looking for something to read. What is one thing that you've learned in your writing career, maybe that you've learned that you didn't know in the beginning, but that you know now?
Okay. Well,
hard question, I know.
Yeah, I was going to say, though, there was the marketing and kind of the things I talked about, having some help and practice. You can
That's the key.
Always improve.
You can always improve. Yes. And always get an editor. Don't be naive and think in the beginning you don't need it.
Right.
I'm here to tell you you do. And the first draft is always it always looks different than the last draft.
Right. And somebody
the
said
first draft always sucks.
they said, I don't remember who it was, but said the first draft is just you telling yourself the story.
Yes.
Don't write it thinking that anybody's going to read it, because you'll become petrified with every sentence that doesn't read right.
You'll get caught up in the semantics.
Yes, just get it written down. It's just for you. Nobody else is going to read
That's what I always say. When you're writing your first draft, you're putting the bones down. And the editing is when you start putting the flesh around it and you start giving it some life and some sparkle.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Give us a little insight into what you're working on now.
Oh.
What's coming next?
Well, okay. So I'm writing curriculum right now, but there's a few stories that I have. I say a few. There's a lot of people living in my head.
Oh,
and
me too.
A lot of characters.
There's more. There's not enough time in the day to write all the books I want to write.
Yeah. No, I have this one story. This guy, he was in a band and he ends up with, because I do a lot of things with foster care. I adopted 3 kids from foster care, and he ends up with this child just being placed in his care that's a fictive kin, so just a child that he sort of kind of knew, and he's having to navigate that. But it's a comedy, and I haven't written much of it, but it's one of those that's just frequently rolling in my head, and then I'll take notes and make notes about it. So yeah.
Okay. I know you're having to juggle homeschooling and stuff, so do you have like a goal into when your next one's going to be published, or are you still just in the beginning phases of it?
No. And you know what? Actually, I think the next one I may publish is a sequel to my kids' book. I'm actually about halfway done with that.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
Is the River series done? Are you done with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's complete.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tell everybody where they can find you if they want to look you up online, or if you have a website. Tell them where they can look you up and find out more about you if they want.
So my website is RM Snider, the writer, WRITER, and it's got links to all my books and some blog posts I occasionally write. I'm more active if I've just, come out with a book. So I'm kind of in a lull right now. And then I'm on Facebook, RM Snider, and I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Okay. But I don't, kind of ebbs and flows how often I'm active. And
me too. I'm not one of those that posts something to social media. Like, you're lucky if I post something once every couple weeks.
I always see you post. Maybe that's on your personal page, but I always see you post stuff on Facebook.
I do post more on my. I am horrible at self-promotion. I've got an author friend, and I follow her author page every day. She's posting a video of her, and I'm horrible at doing that.
I think I need to employ ChatGPT more to help me come up with ideas or just some content. But no, I'm terrible at it too.
Well, and I don't have time. I work full time. Yeah. I've got the podcast. I'm writing. I just don't have time to be constantly making a video. So
I know it's every writer's dream that you have someone who works for you, who does the grunt work.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a social media person to post everything for you? Yeah. Maybe one of these days. So, all right. Are your books on Kindle Unlimited for people that are KU? Okay.
Yeah. They are. And The Improbable Existence of Life After Divorce, you can buy it anywhere. The other one's on Amazon. And my children's book is called The Good King Rupert of Callaway, written under Rachel Reddens. And it's actually an audiobook too. Okay. So, which is perfect for kids who aren't reading yet.
Spell the last name for people who want to look that one up.
Yeah, Reddens, Redins, and it's The Good King Rupert of Callaway. It's a fun kind of medieval adventure novel about a boy who is super naughty, and then he becomes the most trusted knight in the kingdom.
Oh, fun. Yeah. That's on Amazon too?
Yes, Amazon and Kindle. It's an Audible. It's an audiobook too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good deal. All right. Well, Rachel, it has been such a pleasure to actually have a local author on for a change. So thank you for taking the time to come on. We will definitely have her on again sometimes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome. It's been fun. Listeners, we thank you guys for listening in. We will catch you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Bookish Introverts podcast, where together we explore the worlds within the pages. Until next time, stay bookish.